I wonder what my dear sister Lynette is doing right now. Missing me to death, I'm sure.
Bon, hop. Voilà, donc on se retrouve sur Genshin Impact. Et qu'est-ce qu'on va faire aujourd'hui? On va tout simplement faire la quête de Lyney. On verra si on aura le temps de faire la quête de la Villette ou de Royal Slay, qui est sortie aujourd'hui. Voilà, pour l'instant on fera celle de Lyney et on verra pour le reste. Mais avant, faisons les quêtes quotidiennes. C'est parti.
I try making the stars appear anyway.
À la base je voulais pas, non, je savais pas que ça lançait une quête, donc j'ai un coffre. Mais je ne veux pas faire ta quête, laisse-moi tranquille. Oh, c'est pas eu.
One with nature. Clouds high. The birds sing. Here comes the finale.
Ah, salut Océane, comment tu vas? Ça va, merci. Qu'est-ce que tu fais de beau? Toute l'après-midi? Quand même pas. Ça me semble un peu bizarre. Là t'as regardé la télé. Comme d'hab quoi. Tu passes ta vie sur la télé toi. Demain tu finis à 12h45. Ah, c'est comme moi, demain je finis à midi. Sauf qu'il y a un truc où on a dû s'inscrire obligatoirement il y a 2 semaines. Donc je m'y suis inscrit, c'est demain après-midi, sauf que du coup c'est en visio à cause des trucs, à cause des attentats, tout ça, Vigipirate. Donc du coup c'est en visio et puis voilà, c'est beaucoup mieux. Surtout que je savais même pas où c'était, c'est même pas dans les UT, c'est dans une autre université, je sais pas trop où. Voilà. Voilà, du coup c'est en visio, c'est génial. Surtout que c'est juste que 18h. Qu'est-ce que je voulais faire moi, je sais plus. Horrible. Ah oui c'est vrai, il faut le tester lui. Je vais le tester maintenant, tiens. C'est parti, testons Way of the Slay, le nouveau personnage qui est sorti aujourd'hui. Apparemment il est pas ouf. Déjà ouais, il se bat avec les poings. Ok, bon, on va bien voir comment ça marche. Ah, ça va en vrai, au niveau dégâts. Ah non, ici il peut pas. En vrai ça va, hein, il est pas nul. Hein. Il fait pas mal de dégâts. Hein. Bon, Venti, on connaît. Hein. Donc il tue, c'est le principal, c'est vrai. Bon, Venti, je l'aime pas du tout. Oh, Venti, c'est vraiment l'arme que je déteste. Je ne l'aime pas. Voilà. Testons Shongyun, même si je sais comment il se joue. Allez. Oula. En vrai, Rio the Slay il est pas mal. Bon, c'est pas celui qui fait les meilleurs dégâts du monde, mais en vrai ça passe. Mais je pense que personne ne va le prendre. Parce que dans la mise à jour juste après, on a l'archon de Fontaine qui sort, donc la Furina. Donc, je pense que personne ne va le prendre. Tout le monde va économiser cette chose-là. Oui, bah oui, bien sûr que je la veux. Attends. Apparemment, apparemment elle serait super cheat Furina. Donc franchement... Ouais. Genre, je vais juste te donner un exemple. Genre... ouais, Kokomi par exemple. C'est une soigneuse. Voilà, elle soigne. Et ben grâce à Furina, l'archon hydro, du coup, elle va pouvoir faire plein de dégâts apparemment, d'après ce que j'ai pu lire. Voilà. Tu pourras la jouer comme si tu jouais... ouais, comme si tu veux faire des dégâts avec elle, tu peux. Vu que ça marchera. Et puis pareil, elle améliore aussi d'autres persos. Elle améliore plein de persos et surtout, elle améliore Noël. Je sais pas si tu vois qui c'est Noël. C'est elle. Furina apparemment elle améliorerait Noël. Voilà. Donc si t'as envie de jouer Noël... Noël. Bah elle améliore pas que Noël, mais elle l'améliore. Noël la pire, mais c'est pas la pire Noël qui tu racontes. C'est vrai que Noël tout le monde là, en plus elle est pas ouf. Mais du coup avec Furina par contre elle sera forte. T'as pas l'air d'accord avec moi. Franchement le pire perso de Genshin, je te en choisir un, je sais pas qui. Hein. Pas du tout. Non, je dirais Humber. Humber, c'est la pire. Vraiment, elle sert à rien du tout. Noël, non, bah non. Noël, elle fait quand même pas mal un peu de dégâts. Et elle met un bouclier. Alors qu'Humber, elle sert à quoi? Elle sert à rien. Franchement. C'est pour les noobs, c'est ça. C'est pour les noobs. Voilà. Donc on va... Non, j'ai pas fait mes... Ça. Donc... on va toujours aller farm les artefacts. Voilà. Donc il me manque encore des artefacts pour Lyney parce qu'il est pas encore assez fort, je trouve. Je trouve que Lyney il est pas assez fort. Mais en même temps je récupère des artefacts pour Furina. Voilà. De base tu dois pas être en autonomie. Si mais j'ai fini. Si normalement j'ai autonomie jusqu'à 17h. Mais comme j'ai fini... Voilà. J'allais pas rester jusqu'à 17h là, j'avais fini. Ouais, je suis assez content, là, il fait pas mal de dégâts, mais c'est juste que ces artefacts sont pas ouf encore. On peut encore les améliorer. Genre, par exemple, là, il demande du taux critique. Et il n'y en a pas assez. Il faut que ce soit à peu près à 50%. Donc il en manque 10% à peu près.
One with nature, as one with wind and cloud. Teamwork is tricky. Let's get this show on the road.
Stabilize. I will have order.
I'm going in. Here comes the finale.
Solidify.
The wind knows me.
Il y a des stories sur Twitch, qu'est-ce que tu racontes? Ça existe ça? Il y a des stories sur Twitch, qu'est-ce que tu... T'es sûr que c'est pas des clips? Parce que les stories... D'accord. Ah oui. D'accord, il y a des stories sur Twitch maintenant. Ok. Bah surtout qu'il n'y en a pas besoin des stories sur Twitch. Je sais pas. Encore à la limite ce qui aurait pu être utile. Ce qui aurait pu être utile sur Twitch c'est un système d'annonce pour dire je serai en live tel jour ou tout ça. Mais les stories, franchement, je vois pas l'intérêt, hein. C'est pas Insta.
Stabilize.
Into the wind. Teamwork is trick. Here comes the finale. Step right up. The wind knows me. Come on.
Solidify. I will have order.
Let's light it up. I'm going. Clouds high. The birds. A round of applause. And voila.
Et voilà, c'est tout. Je crois que j'ai que de la merde là, encore une fois, mais c'est le jeu. Ouais. C'est bon, ils sont finis. Voilà. Donc ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va faire la quête de Lyney. On la débloque. Et avant de la commencer, je vais juste faire, aller chercher quelque chose à manger. Je vais voir. J'arrive. Hop, du coup c'est bon. On peut y aller. Allons commencer la quête. Je pense qu'aujourd'hui on aura juste le temps de faire celle-là. Allons parler à Charlotte.
I see. So you believe that this warning letter was sent by the Phantom Weasel?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Phantom Weasel never acts as you expect. He must have faked his own death 10 years ago using a bot. Now that he's back, I'm sure the guards who worked on his case back in the day are in for a headache. But however this turns out in the end, the one thing...
Couldn't agree more. As a journalist, I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this one. Thank you, sir, for your time. Now, whom should I interview next? Huh? Hey! What a coincidence! Fancy meeting you here. Perfect timing. So, the Phantom Weasel's latest warning letter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first time we're hearing of this one. Could you...
Huh? Oh, sorry. Yes, this case is from a decade ago. Well, not to worry. You're in good hands because I'm a professional. The story goes 10 or so years ago, a phantom thief became active in the court of Fontaine. Known only as the Weasel. Nobody knew his true identity.
Wow, cool! He sounds like one of those...
Precisely. Well, except the part where they actually have a good reputation. Our Weasel targeted whatever people held dear. He would just as soon steal a necklace from a rich merchant's safe as he would a toy doll given to a commoner child for their birthday. I know. The phantom thieves you read about in novels rob the rich to pay the poor. But this guy did not discriminate. Unsurprisingly, this didn't work wonders for his public reputation.
Yeesh. So,
there's a good chance that the weasel would still be at large to... A magician named Caesar fell to his death when the police went through his personal effects. They found a hoard of stolen loot and gadgets used for criminal activities. And that was how the Phantom Weasel's identity was revealed to all.
Mhm. Donc apparemment il y aurait un voleur. Et il faudrait le retrouver, c'est ça. Est-ce que le voleur ce serait pas Lyney par hasard?
The original Phantom Thief Caesar was a magician too! And what do Phantom Thieves and magicians have?
Are you serious? What sort of a deduction is that?
Oh, relax! My journalistic instinct tells me that an exclusive news story is beckoning. Let's go!
Ok. Questionner Lyney. C'est parti. Oh regarde, il y a Lyney qui rencontre Lyney.
Wow, Mr. Magician! How did you know which card I picked?
Oh, it's simple. Come closer and I'll let you in on my secret. Magicians have a special skill called telepathy.
Really? Then, what am I thinking now?
Well, first you need to relax, because I can see that you're clenching your fist.
Aww.
And now you're getting a little flustered. You're trying to find a way to empty your mind, to think of nothing at all. But the more you try to hide a secret, the easier. You snuck out from home today, didn't you? You told your family a little lie so you could come out and play.
You can tell? Oh boy. You really...
Of course. Oh, and that's the end of my performance. You should really be heading home.
All right, got it. Bye, Mr. Magician.
Hey, Lyney?
Why, hello. We meet again. Are you looking for me?
Oh, why don't you guess, Mr. Telepathic?
Oh, please. You didn't believe that spiel, did you? The power of telepathy is...
I'm sure that child would beg to differ. Seemed like you were right on the money.
That was nothing more than a little trickery. I made an educated guess based on his micro... That, plus the fact that he was the only kid here without his parents, and he looked as guilty as sin. You guys, on the other hand... Let me guess. Don't tell me you're here for the Phantom Weasel, are you?
Wow! Got it in one!
Wait, really? No trickery this time. It was pure luck. His warning letter's been the talk of the town, so I figured that maybe you were asking around about that.
Bingo! I plan on writing a column reporting on the latest news. So, Lyney, what are your thoughts on this infamous thief?
To be honest, it makes...
Angry? Why?
You read his letter, right? The Phantom Weasel claims he's planning something in 3 nights' time at the Opera House.
Huh. What are the chances? Wait a minute, you don't think he's after you, do you?
Well, if he is, then his warning is clearly a direct challenge. And if he's not, then the mere mention of the weasel's name is enough to scare people off. So once the contents of that letter get out, barely anyone will be showing up to watch my show. But I've been preparing for this for a long time. I'm not about to let him ruin my big day. This leaves me with only one choice. I have to—
Really? So what you're saying is, we might get to see a live duel between a famous magician and—
To be honest, I'm not sure if I'll emerge the victor. The Phantom Weasel is a notorious—
You're being far too modest, Lyney. I think your magic tricks are even more inscrutable than those of a thief.
Thanks for the compliment, though I have to say, I don't— A lot of people liken magicians to thieves because we both have the ability to make things disappear without the person noticing. But there's Allow me to demonstrate with a quick magic trick. Here, I have a flower, just an ordinary flower that was picked not long ago. Watch it carefully now. 3, 2, 1.
It's good!
That's the question. Where did it go? Therein lies the difference between us. Thieves make precious things disappear, but only magicians make them reappear. If I could now invite you all to check your clothes, there might be a
surprise? Let me see! It's right there! But how? You haven't—
What an outstanding trick! Sorry, Lyney, it seems that my previous praise was woefully inadequate.
Don't worry, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to take the opportunity to perhaps change some of the preconceived notions you might
Ah,
have
ça y est,
about
il pleut ici.
Since Caesar's death, a lot of people associate magicians with criminality.
I can imagine. Coming back to your trick just now, might you assume that you're, for example, magicians often use rainbow roses in their flower-related performances to represent passion, but you use a Lyney spell, which, if I'm not mistaken, allude to separate—
Impressive knowledge. It's no wonder you're such a successful journalist. But I'm afraid I don't know. It sounds like something I should look into. I'll buy myself a copy of Fontaine's Floral Language Facts when I have some time.
No. In that case, this brings us to the end of our interview. I, for one, am looking for— Please feel free to get in touch to update me on any further developments. Otherwise, I will, of course— If there's nothing else, I'll be off. You've given me lots to work with here, and I've got no time to lose if I want to write that exclusive piece. I'll see you all later.
So, Lyney, are you gonna tell us how you did that flower trick now?
I'm afraid that's my little secret.
Aww. Well, magicians are entitled to their secrets. You feel it too, right? So itchy!
Not so itchy then, huh? Well, since you're so concerned, how would you like to serve as my temporary—
Magician's assistants? Oh, that sounds fun! Assistants are technically magicians too! Also, it'll bring us one step closer to figuring out how that darn trick is done! Shall we go for it?
The first thing we need to look into is who Caesar really was. If he truly was the Phantom Weasel, that means that the Weasel is— But if he wasn't the Weasel? Well, that'll make things more interesting. And if we're investigating Caesar, his fiancée Gemma is a good place to start. Word is that she visits the— We should make a move. Let's—
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler in Charlotte.
It's been a while, Lynette! We're working as Lyney's temporary assistants in the investigation of the Phantom.
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation?
Nope. I've been here a while, and she still hasn't shown—
How bizarre. Maybe it was bad intel. Well, we won't get anywhere by standing around waiting. Traveler, Paimon, let's... Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know a...
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiance?
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something. I heard she comes here...
Yeah, she does. Poor thing. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. Often, she just sits there. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to speak to him again. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but she just likes to spend time there, telling her fiancé all...
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. Gemma's the... I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if it does, I'm sure... If I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a low... Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Normally, she'd be sitting in front of his... Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid. You might have more luck asking...
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us. We'll keep asking...
You're welcome.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait, isn't he dead?
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around nowadays. I can never... But what if? Just hypothetically, I mean. What if this weasel's the real deal? And...
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar...
Oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police...
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but we're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it.
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. Back when Caesar... He was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent... I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once. But for the life of me...
I saw him perform too. He always used to bring some gifts along for the kids who came to watch his show. Sometimes, he even got the kids to write their wishes down, and then he'd...
Huh. He doesn't sound like such a bad guy.
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was precious to people. With the... As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about anything.
Whatever the case, now that the Weasel is back, Caesar's become a hot... I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared, maybe it'll finally give her... No, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one...
So that's Gemma. Is it just Paimon or... Wait, it looks like she's injured. Hi there.
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured. How...
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question.
My name is Lyney, and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler. We're investigating the Phantom Weasel.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely... You knew Caesar better than anyone else. So if you're willing, I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you. In fact, we'll do all we...
I never believed that he would...
Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years, do you remember anything...
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right. Sorry for disturbing you.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone with him.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely some...
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about... In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside. I wonder what my dear sister Lynette is doing right now. Miss...
Allons rejoindre Lyney. Bah juste là.
Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. They should be at a cafe right now. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo, Caesar's former pupil and assistant. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. But before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master, and it made him very wealthy. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me. Be warned though,
Magicien qui a pris tous les tours de l'ancien voleur. Est-ce que ce serait lui le nouveau?
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former magic maestro himself, they begged and pleaded.
Oh, forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Lyney's...
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important...
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned. Naturally, any investigation into the Weasel...
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel, and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if some sick creep thought it'd be funny to write a warning letter?
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one
possibility. It's a fact, Lyney. Look, my patience is limited, so listen carefully. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this in-
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. But my pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo. Copycat or not, this person has thrown me the...
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me what...
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity. I have to know...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets.
Uh-oh. This is getting up.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that big...
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on! You can't be all business, all the...
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had...
Oh, hey! Edmondo. He and I are business pals. We work together. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and hard. And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being... What?
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me.
Sorry, I may have had a little too much to drink.
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lyney, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Il louche un peu.
And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? Why would someone he's gotta be hiding something. And not like Gemma. She was a little suspicious.
I think so too. We need to look into Lorenzo more closely. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. He only just left. You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I say way too much back there, didn't I? Yeah.
So he was serious about threatening to cut you off?
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs.
What kind of bad thing?
Don't even ask. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this conversation short. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. Some flare-up back. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this.
And there he goes.
Shh! I think we're being watched. Someone was listening. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. We better take this elsewhere. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Lyney. And where's your sister? And save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers.
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this!
One with nature.
Gather!
Step.
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble. Intimidation ain't gonna work like...
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And you're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday. Maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because the...
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to... Let's head back to the cafe and see...
Pour l'instant, ça n'a aucun sens ce qui se passe. Je ne comprends rien du tout.
Gemma?
You again. What is it this time?
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and... Wait, so... you can relax now.
What? Why? I didn't tell you.
Sounds like they're no stranger.
That's putting it mildly. I know them all. It's been 10 long years. And still, every time I try to look into Caesar's death, they show up and warn me not to do it. How do I know I can trust you? Do you really think you can get to the bottom of it all?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but I can promise you this. I will expose the Phantom Weasels because, you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance.
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Sonde. But the place was sealed up by the police after his... I also know that the Fleuve Sonde is dangerous territory. Lots of hostile groups.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma. Don't let her come to harm.
Got it. But if I'm staying here,
I mean, bon appetit. But stay...
Okay. Alright. Power saving mode off. I'll start taking this more serious.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking... There we go. It should be...
Un donjon. Les plateformes elles partent sans moi. J'ai pas compris. D'accord. Bon, j'ai toujours pas compris ce qu'il fallait faire, mais J'ai réussi.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe, hidden rooms... Aha! If I just move this book, then hopefully...
A secret passageway!
I'm a magician too, and a pair looks pretty big inside. Let's head...
Gather!
Into the wind! Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Step right up!
Lyney? Is there some...
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's run.
All right. See you in a... Thick as a brick! Let's take a peek.
At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me, as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole... So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer. I wound up saving very little this month. But that's not a major issue. I now have a bigger problem. Oh. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. I don't know why they were out on their own. They looked much too young to be unsupervised. I do hope they got home. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. I told them that learning magic is very hard work, but that didn't faze them at all. It's like they already knew. It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those 2 children. I'll have to... I have a good feeling about those kids. They're naturally talented. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. There, with time, I have no doubt that they could become far greater magicians than I. My only concern is why they're so mature. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I asked the two kids. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parents.
Attends, Lyney et Lynette, c'est... Du coup, ils étaient avec César. Du coup, Lyney, il nous a encore menti.
It's only been 10 days since I first met them, but I think that they're very tough, but also very cautious. They trust no one but each other. They hide things from me too. For example, when I ask them what's the thing about children, whenever they're trying to cover something, I can sense that their lives are hard. Possibly even dangerous too, after thinking things are peanuts. I hope they won't find my peanuts. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't meant to come Caesar.
Donc Lyney nous a encore menti. Génial.
Geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like who's writing about Lyney and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar when they were...
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot...
Fishy?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, I want to tell you first, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention, and they start wailing. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits. Oh no! Is that me? Did I just fall to my death?
Very vivid description.
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished. As if everything... Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, Caesar was the one who fell. He fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what it...
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? I was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but if it's that dangerous, it's... Wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then we're...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it looks. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience, from where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses a button inside the box, opening a secret door out of view. He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly...
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even...
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. The hardest part of this trick is controlling the audience's mood. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would even have themselves tied up before it begins. Just many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this, all culminating in a performance just a few minutes long, but one that still... Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side. And
Okay. Nothing suspicious.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on but a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods and so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. Great magic always requires sacrifices. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he said, exactly, I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, but I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed countless times to the point where... So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything was in order, and then went to leave. With his left hand, he reached for... Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for enough... With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. The authorities would find nothing suspicious.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes, and they did it to murder him. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed? That would be difficult to pull off, no?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed, and who could move his props around without Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie. There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know. Silencing you the hard way but I gave you your chance. I hoped you'd do what's good for you and back off like the lady, but...
You mean Gemma? So you are the one...
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, she was never much of a liability. But you people... You never even knew him, but for some reason you just... Which is why you can't leave this place alive.
Do your work!
Stabilize!
Teamwork is strength!
The wind knows me.
Now disappear! Let's get this show on the road!
This is order. Solidify!
As one with wind and cloud! Everybody stand!
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking. And what I'd really like to know...
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the fine art it is today.
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him, never bothering to think about Mora. But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. No one gave me a second look. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. There was nothing. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, if I dabbled in my own breath, I had to kill him. There was no other.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play.
In love with Gemma, don't be...
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next...
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insisted that I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of magic.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter how much he was...
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with second-rate loot? I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's own...
So, that's the story, huh? Well, I hope you're ready to tell...
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years. The likes of which Caesar...
Donc depuis le début c'était lui. Il n'y a pas beaucoup de rebondissements là. Bon, pourquoi pas.
Lyney has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to frame...
Look who's finally... What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it. Because...
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lyney? Should we start...
Let me think. Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo in custody, Gemma will know...
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right away!
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished.
You're third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now. But try to eat a...
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are...
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but I...
It's okay. We understand. He did threaten you, but you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. And then no one would be left to visit Caesar's grave. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. And to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time, while Caesar's name was getting... At least his soul can finally rest in peace.
If only I'd realized.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor. Thank you.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free... Wait. Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yes!
On doit inviter au spectacle de magie. C'est parti. Allons voir un nouveau spectacle de magie. Alors,
Not this time. My brother's going so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's ready. The great magician Lyney has prepared a spectacular show for us all to—
Wow! A new trick!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a...
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just...
No wonder. See, so how did you two first meet?
Well, I was out on the street once. Children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. Caesar had this amazing way of... And somehow, I felt drawn to him too.
Aw, that sounds...
It was with a flower. He took it in his hand. I was so happy that day.
Oh, that's so cute! Actually...
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart. After all, you never know when the people dearest to you...
That's right! It's, Paimon doesn't really know how to comfort you, but...
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what? The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Lyney once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role and put on a flawless performance for their art. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's time to end the show. It's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all enjoying the... There will now be a brief intermission, after which Lyney will perform the most The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House, so please make your...
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places. Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon. Let's...
Mais je comprends plus rien là. C'est elle finalement la voleuse.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid this is a big mistake for a magician to make. But
Lyney? Don't we have more? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment...
all in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions you want to...
Really? Well then,
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrible. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day she ran the... Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long she found her ticket to freedom. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician, Caesar. After all, magic and theft shared enough similarities.
So, being the master deceiver she was, the Weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him for her count. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his... Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the Weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers, but I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale.
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the Weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that. He was too forthcoming.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And I have no doubt, with a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé. Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Everyone sympathized. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was actually the
Wait, so you mean the whole... But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out even...
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Lyney, if you're so confident in you having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But if the Weasel remained
an excellent answer.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you.
As a matter of fact, why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people?
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would say that left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. This was her only source of happiness in life. But once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became I detest the happiness of others. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true.
That's some...
Now it all... Does this story satisfy you, Lynn?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes. Thank you for helping to clear up my confusion.
Huh. That's right. What drove... Because without that, none of this would have ever come...
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the Lyney. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter.
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal, the most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar, was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
C'est Lyney qui nous a fait croire que Bled était revenu alors qu'en fait pas du tout.
That's it? You had, of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from
10 years ago. Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious who taught you magic back then, didn't we? For what, 10 days?
We remember all our days. However, Graves, 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. But we did not forget.
And what exactly did you take from me? I'm still
free. Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Prized possessions with mistakes. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became your way of numbing the pain.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps it's because you found something other than a life of crime to fill. Back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along with your act. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think that truth is gone now, and I guarantee you.
Congratulations on your freedom.
Jen, your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all alone.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Lyney. I'm sure you're all wondering.
How did you escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that led, but we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused, and that the...
Guess that's my cue to leave. Whew. I've been practicing. Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but...
Lyney, you two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. So you don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone. One day, you'll end—
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
So,
Like Lyney said, when you're ready, let's head outside and watch the show.
but what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lynn—
All right. Well, let's...
Ok. Notre spectacle. C'est pas fini le spectacle.
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Lyney is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next...
How could he possibly have...
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just...
What a heart-stopping magic show! This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Lyney has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better grand finale.
Looks like everyone really loved Lyney's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Lyney anywhere. Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one where Caesar's buried? Yeah, that's probably it. This whole magic show kinda seemed like Lyney's way of saying, alright, let's go look for it.
Allez, allons voir Lyney.
Paimon was scared to death when the chamber—
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. The thought of falling, sometimes I can't help but wonder what Caesar thought, and did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on? Or...
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop.
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secretly learning magic from street performers. But I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand, hone my... We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves. But without proper guidance from a professional magician, we quickly plateaued.
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking. But in all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. By contrast, for instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, But in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, this was no... What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing. Sadly...
Lyney...
Still worried about the way I feel? You really are, but don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. The next we heard of him was that he'd fallen to his death, and was now declared to be the Phantom Weasel. That night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you keep them up, the less you let people in. Then, one day, you look around and realize your life is like an empty auditorium. You only realize how much someone really meant to you.
Yeah, cheer up. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. Delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kinda make you Paimon?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing each other has in the world, and life has taken plenty from us like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's why the darkness never consumed me and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too, but we remember Alright, time to lighten this conversation.
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation. We spent most of our time in the, Lyney...
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decided...
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, alright then. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try...
3, 2, 1!
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last, but more importantly, Paimon...
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by a...
Fine!
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic...
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I bid you both good night. I look forward to seeing you again.
Alright, bye. Shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning.
Et ça se finit quand? Entre 8h et midi. Toujours pas fini. À chaque fois on croit que c'est la fin, mais en fait non.
very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today.
Oh, please, Lyney, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and it was going to go to print, but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had...
That was quick.
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some... Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have...
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more to it.
Well...
Oh, I remember now! You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after the show. Quickfire question! Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Lyney did a private magic trick just for us. Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds...
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that they're...
No, I just...
What now? This is getting pretty awkward.
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, never mind. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, apparently one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. There. All right, I guess I'll leave you to...
Lynette?
Don't worry, I wasn't angry. I was just...
Oh, really? Oh, thank goodness.
Phew. You and me both, Paimon.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Voilà, là c'est la fin. Ok. Bon. Je sais pas à quoi elle servait cette fin, mais... Elle était là. Et ben voilà, on a terminé la quête de Lyney. Non, il ne nous reste plus que la quête de Neuvillette et de Wheels of Slay à faire. Encore deux. Bon, on la fera pas, on la fait pas ce soir. Je vais m'arrêter là pour Genshin. Donc Neuvillette on le fera une prochaine fois, Wheels of Slay aussi on le fera une prochaine fois. Faut pas oublier que je dois aussi faire l'événement. L'événement avec Kutao et Venti. Je ferai une autre fois, sûrement. Ou alors je le ferai tout seul de mon côté, je sais pas encore. Ouais, je sais pas, on verra bien. Je verrai bien quand est-ce que je ferai tout ça. On va juste aller se soigner. Voilà. Donc j'espère que ça vous a plu. On se retrouve la prochaine fois en live, je ne sais pas quand. Mais ce qui est sûr, c'est qu'on se retrouve. C'est qu'on se retrouvera samedi soir pour continuer The Callisto Protocol. Voilà. Et puis je vous dis à plus du coup, pour mon cher live. Merci d'être passé. Salut. Salut Océane. Salut tout le monde.